I guess don't be afraid to take the plunge, learn as much as you can. Surround yourself with people, like-minded people, meaning wanting to invest, eager to invest, wanting to learn. And if this is really the space you want to be in, if you really want to be a real estate investor, and you have your goals in mind, um, don't let any stumbling blocks stop you. Don't let any hurdle stop you. Like, every problem has a solution to it. Some take longer than others, but that's why you lean on those who have experience to, guide you through it, and eventually you'll get through it.
Hey there, welcome back to Direct Booking Simplified, where we simplify direct bookings and make it attainable for all hosts. And on today's show, we have Charifa. He's an STR operator with properties in 3 markets and is focusing on new construction. And he's nailed how to create content that resonates with his guests. He's going to walk us through how he took the plunge into short-term rentals and how he's leveraging his expertise to build his following. So without further ado, let's bring on Chase. Hey Chase, welcome to our episode today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
When I started this podcast, I was like, you've been pretty much in this journey with me since my very beginning. And I was like, when I do this, I want to have you on as a guest.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, we connected right away, and so I think that was really important. It seemed like we have very similar values and and goals. So, no, thank you for having me on.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember the first time we met. It was Sericon. I didn't even launch my property at that time. You pushed me to keep on getting my next cabin. I think if it wasn't for you, I would probably stuck with my first one for a long time.
Yeah, I remember when we were talking about it. It just seems like you were like analysis paralysis type of thing,
Yeah.
and I was just I saw myself in that, and I was like, man, I mean, you're not going to knock it out of the park all the time. And I know it seems like every single story out there, they knock it out on the first one and then they keep going, they get the confidence. But yours was maybe more challenging, where you were struggling, struggling to launch, and then struggling with it. And then I was like, well, as you're improving, like as an investor, you're going to go through some challenges. Sometimes it could be in the beginning, sometimes it could be at the end, but it's the consistency that helps you win.
I think that was a big lesson for me. Is like when I first bought my cabin, it was in 22, and the market started to soften up quite a bit at that time. Like we weren't getting 2020, 2021 numbers coming out of COVID, coming out of the pandemic. And I was like, damn, can I do this again? Like if I buy another one, am I going to double down on a bad investment? And I think what you made me realize was like, not every property is going to be a home run. I think the first one, it's kind of like what like the Bigger Pockets talks about, is like the first one isn't necessarily one that you're going to hit a home run. It's necessarily for you to like get started and learn about the whole process, and then for you to then take that learning into the next one. And
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
And
and
that's what you did.
I'm glad you did, because my second one was a home run. Like that one
Right.
is killer. I'm so happy about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you're analyzing that for a while, and then you just pulled the trigger.
yeah. Can you give the listeners a sense of kind of who you are and what you've been doing?
I'm Chase Charifa, and my wife and I, well, I'm a lender, and my wife was an optometrist, and you know, uh, we are pretty big on the short-term rental, like investment. Um, so we had our first long-term rental, which was our old primary home, and it was a long-term rental. And then once we had a taste with our cabin of short-term rental, we sold that one and we went all in on short-term rental. I think hospitality was just really big for us. And you know, as we purchased more and more properties, and moved our investments out of state, we've realized that like our um approach was getting different. And as we found out, like as you scale, you lose a lot of money. And if you want to scale quickly, you've got to find unique ways to keep scaling. And partnering is one way, and then what we found was development was something that we were excited about, especially with my engineering background and just through all the properties that we've already gone through. Um, Everything was just overpriced as a resale, especially in our California market. Going out of state helped with that, and I think there's a lot of value in building. So that's where we're at today. We're just working on building,
Yeah.
literally and figuratively.
Talk to me about how you've approached really building a business around your short-term rentals. And we talked about this the other night about how we don't want to be completely reliant on um, the OTAs. How's your approach?
Mhm.
How's your mindset on that?
Um, the approach on that is knowing that the OTAs exist, knowing what they're useful for, but planning for something else in the future. So I always have like a minimum 3-year plan is my thought process. Is like
Mhm.
whenever you begin, you have nothing at this point. So you're subject to whatever the OTAs are, Airbnb and VRBO specifically. So you just kind of work within that system and you develop, you know, really great a great reputation and great rapport with those clients and guests that come in. So that's your initial funnel is my thought process. But your job as a host is to go so far above and beyond that you make those that came from Airbnb and VRBO, and if they want to come back, that they want to come back over and over again. So you're essentially using the Airbnb funnel to create your new past client funnel. And so, I mean, if you're getting, you know, 50 stays a year or 100 stays a year, it doesn't matter. After 3 years, you have 300, 150 to 300 guests, or more if you're able to collect more of their information. But let's just say it's just those. You have this 150 people pool that you can try to pull from. So if you could do 1 to 5% conversion, and normally it's like a 2% conversion on like a cold lead, but these are warm leads. These are leads that you have stayed with you before, trust you, and have had a 5-star experience with you. I would think that your conversion would be greater, not just with them, but with their circle and their influence, their friends and family and such. So I think marketing to that, you naturally, after a couple years, you'll naturally create a new funnel, right? And then so now, hopefully, you'll balance out your bookings with some with Airbnb and VRBO, some from your past client. And once you've built that, then you could start shifting into getting them to book directly. So you have a consistent flow, because it's harder to start that from the beginning. You can for sure, but you don't know your seasonality or your market yet, and I don't know if you've honed in or refined your guest avatar in the first year. So that's why after a little bit of time, you really know who to target. You also have now some data of where people have come from, and now you kind of have a target location. And so after a few years, you could kind of see where they've come from, and you could start doing like ads for those specific areas, because those are the higher tendencies in the past 3 years that have looked at your place and wanting to come stay. So, um, I think that's a big deal. Like leaning into the existing OTAs, creating a past client funnel, using that data to then retarget to get more direct bookings. So it is a longer term process, I think, unless you just have unlimited budget and you could just blitz the market up front and spend a ton of marketing dollars. But I don't know if it'll be returned because you're just blasting it out there without knowing which section to target. I know that was a mouthful, but mhm, mhm. Mhm. Right. Because Airbnb is spread, you know? It's just whomever, but you don't know where your potential guests could come from. But if you have even 2 years worth of data, oh, even though I'm California, there's a lot of people from, yes, Los Angeles, but there's a big group in Vegas and Arizona and San Diego that really come to our cabin. So not only do we target LA, but we could target San Diego and Vegas as well, and attack those markets, and then wait for another year data, and then to see if there are others that's coming in through Airbnb that's greater than those markets, and then you could keep adding or just doubling down on those markets. So I think that's the at least that's the approach that we're trying to get at.
Yeah. I learned this and I haven't applied it myself yet, but at WealthCon, I was talking to someone and they were mentioning that there's one thing that folks specifically that use StayFi don't utilize very well. Like everybody thinks that StayFi is a great way to get email captures so that you can retarget. You can basically re-email those same people over and over again and have them as basically your, like you mentioned, like warm leads for future bookings. But there's a neat trick where you have their email addresses and you're able to create your lookalike profiles on Facebook. And you're able to then pipe that all into Facebook, and Facebook would then create your lookalikes for you. So if you ever run ads on Facebook, you now have a list of 2, 3, 400 people that has a very like high concentration of being very qualified leads in the future. So like you mentioned, like knowing people in Arizona, you can slice and dice the data and find out where people are coming from. But there's also ways to like leverage technology to help you even like surgically get those people that for you.
So that's good to know.
Yeah. Do you run ads yourself or do you mainly rely on more organic and social traffic?
Both social and some ads. Yeah. So we tried Facebook ads before, it just didn't work as well for us. So we've just been doing Google ads, and that's been working pretty good,
Nice. Nice.
and Instagram and all that. But yeah, Facebook before, but not now, focused mostly on Instagram and Google.
Instagram ads, you mean? Or Instagram like
Yeah,
posting?
Instagram ads or just influencer or just any type of marketing from there.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I've known you as someone that really spends a lot of attention at designing the space. The when I look at your properties, they're not cookie cutter, and you're not looking at like they're pretty unique and they're well put together. Um, do you do you know who your guest avatar is when you're designing a place? Like, how do you figure out what you want in there? Is it more based on kind of your own personal preferences, or do you think about um, who's staying there as you're designing the space?
Initially, it was just our personal preferences. And then once we went to the Smoky Mountains, we realized that you have to realize who's staying there. So that's what made a huge change with one of our Gatlinburg properties. And it was just an inefficient use of space. We had like a loft that was basically nothing, a second living room. And so we had changed it to a game room and a bunk room, and it just made it so much more functional, but still in a similar style and fashion. But now we're kind of combining both together, like our preferences as well as the local market's wants and needs. And so once we have done that, we've done much better at that market, but we've been applying that to new properties also, you know, um, studying the market and knowing what are the holes in that market and what do people expect and what do people want. And through that process, we've realized that we know exactly who is our ideal guests, which are couples or small families. So we just now that's our guest avatar, and our builds kind of reflect that.
Yeah, you start to build that brand for yourself. And I'm thinking as the years go on, and you're starting to advertise and talk about your brand as a whole, you start to see that across all of your properties.
Hmm. Yeah, and then we're still constantly making improvements, just like what I told you in the past. Like it's hard to hit a home run every time at bat. So you're just gonna have to accept that and know that there's gonna be improvements made in the future. And so that's what we're working on on the rest of the properties. Like every year we do an assessment. How did we do? What can we do to improve? And I think that's the main thing. You're always looking to improve and not settling on what you have or what you didn't do. And you just have to keep moving forward.
Yeah. Um, One thing I noticed about specifically your Instagram is that you have really high quality pictures and you have a decent following. You have several thousand people following you. How did you get to that point?
Um, Mostly organic. Even like influencers and things like that has helped as well. A lot of advice from a lot of like good photographers and good friends that why don't you try this, why don't you try that, and as the algorithm changes, um yeah, we've just been really blessed with the amount of people that wanting to follow us, and obviously we ask people who stay with us to follow us, so that has helped a lot, and it's created a community where even before you book, in anticipation of your reservation, you get really excited by everything that we post on the property. And so we try to use it as kind of like a preview of before you arrive at the property. So um that's kind of our main approach. And then we've targeted select influencers. I guess our favorite is like a micro influencer, like less than 100,000, um that really works hard to show the property off, and um that's been really effective with regards to um really marketing the property.
Got it. So you don't just find anyone or anyone that just is part of your avatar. Part of it is like the content that they post and just the quality of the content. And it's by looking at the things that you even repost, the photographers on there and the videographers that are on there are really really high caliber. They all the content looks really really nice.
Yeah, we get a bunch of influencers, small and big, all the time, offering all sorts of things, but if they're not like a match with what we want, we don't take it. My wife and I, like, our approach has always been making sure that it fits within what we want. Even if we grow slower, it's the growth that you know, we intended to see with what the followers liked and what we liked, and to best represent the property.
Yeah. When you were getting first started on this, like how did you land your first influencer? How did you find that person?
I They just came and they stayed on their own terms. They just found us. And they just so happened to be a big influencer, and we just gave them a great we didn't know they were an influencer. And then we just gave them a great stay, and not only did they post about us, but they wrote an article about us on Condé Nast
Oh
Traveler, and
wow.
so that was big. So, well, because she was going on a tour of California of a bunch of Airbnbs, and out of all the ones that she's visited through a few months, she's from the UK, and she said ours was her favorite, and so that's what she wrote about.
So it kind of goes back to your personal design
Mhm.
touch back to it. Like that was the
Right.
initial draw.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, and then I was, and personally, me as a photographer, like, with my photos being featured on there, it was pretty exciting. And so, not only is it, my wife's, touch and our design on there, but, for our photos to be used on there was really incredible.
Yeah. And you've had some pretty big name influencers on posting about you as well too, right?
Yeah, there's been a few. So and we've been just really fortunate about that. And yeah, I mean, it's just relationship based thing. And I think whenever you're earnest about it and you're not looking to get anything and you're putting out value to them, um, I think they realize that and then they just naturally connected.
Mm,
And it was great. Like one of the biggest influencers that came, we told her that, we wanted to meet her and she was like, sure. And so we got to hang out a little bit and we got to meet her and her boyfriend and it was, they're just down to earth people and just happen to be amazing photographers. So that was really great.
yeah. Have you been able to find the same success when you're remote, or you're not there to do the photography yourself, or to create that initial like feeling that attracts others?
Like success for other properties.
Yeah, like I know like your Big Bear cabin has
Hmm.
done really really well, and you spent a lot of time there yourself and being able to
Hmm.
like to take your own pictures and really create those moments yourself. I'm curious to on whether or not you're able to, if like being local is a big contributor to that and you be able to put your hands on that, or could you replicate that remotely too when on some of your further cabins?
I'm sure you could. I mean, our Branson one, I think the follower count has increased above 1,000, which is great. Um, yeah, it just really depends on how much effort you want to put into marketing and social media. I think you can make it happen because everything, once you create a space and you create a team around that space, and then you have like a trusted, you know, content creator that creates content for you, then it's just about strategizing on the content you put out. And so I definitely think you can do it remote. Does it make it easier if you're local? Of course, especially if you're taking the photographs yourself and you're able to be creative on the types of shots you want to do yourself. Yeah, definitely. If you're local, you're going to be the one that's putting out that content consistently instead of scheduling it. So it'll be easier closer, but it's not impossible when you're far away.
Yeah. You're heading to Tennessee in a couple of days, or actually tomorrow, right? Are you thinking about
Tomorrow,
bringing your are you bringing your camera and visiting your spots as well too?
my camera doesn't leave my side. It comes with me to go to the mall, to go to get the mail. So, yeah, it always comes with me. Yeah, so it'll be drone is with me, camera's with me, the whole 9 yards.
Oh my god, that's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna definitely follow you and watch you on that journey.
Mhm. Yeah, it's constant. I mean, I just photograph whatever. It'll be on my stories, so,
Nice. So what are you looking forward to, like learning more about it, and really what's driving you to get more direct bookings this year? What tactics are you
um
trying to deploy?
we're trying to deploy more of the, having in lending, we have like a customer relationship management, and I think putting in some like a more detailed email campaign or text campaign would be huge, and I think that will be the main driver for getting more direct bookings, as well as like expanding the ad revenue. It's really just about how many eyes can you get on the property, and how effective could you make the ad spend so that the return is good. But really the key is just consistency. You're always constantly having ads out there. If you don't, then I feel like a lot of people think that, oh, I spent $100 one month and I didn't see any return. Well, that it may not give you a return for a little bit because people don't know who you are yet. But if you consistently do it, then and they consistently see you'll have some conversions eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I think to your point about like ads and repeatability is like I think that's one thing that I actually want to deploy this year is like running ads, but also running retargeting ads so that the people that have actually taken the first step of clicking over to your direct booking site, retargeting them so that you have more chances to hit them moving forward.
Right. Yeah, I'll learn about that and redeploy that. I think, yeah, because the email campaign's been taking a lot of my time and adding StayFi to all of our places, it's data collection and then email campaign, and then we'll probably work on that.
Yeah. Outside of all this, what's some exciting projects that you have going on for this year? What's your big goals?
Well, we have some projects already going on now, so we're pretty heavy into development in multiple states. So we have currently 3 development projects happening. We got an A-frame in Arkansas, short-term rental, and then we have a A-frame in Tennessee, short-term rental. We have a duplex, more long-term rental in Kentucky. We have started a small development company where we acquire the land and build and to sell or keep if needed. So more trying to sell it type of thing. So trying to sell a little bit of our, you know, a little bit of the flavor that we've been creating. I have a partner, uh, Danny Wong, and we've been working on this, you know, partnership together, and we're working on acquiring land and then building something special to for hopefully someone could purchase, with the same exact flair, probably another A-frame, prob- probably mid-century, and at this time, it's gonna have a view and maybe some extras.
Yeah, yeah. I noticed that you, even when you're not live, you're not marketing a specific property. You start to share it as well too. Like your A-frame build and the Ozarks, like you're starting to share that, and you're starting to get followers in there. You're starting to create that buzz and like really, like what I see is that like when that property does go live, you're not cold. You're not like waiting for your first 3 and taking advantage of that 20% lift on Airbnb. You've already been marketing that place for a long time.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm retargeting all of our past guests in all of the properties, regardless of the state. So at least, and that's where the StayFi comes in, right? Like you have that past client funnel, and once it goes live, then you could send those updates to those to that group and see if it's something that they would be really interested in.
Yeah, I can see all this stuff compounding pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll see. We're still praying about it and just trusting that it'll come into play. Now it's go time for furniture and things like that. So it's coming up soon. Estimated build completion is mid-April. It got
Okay.
pushed back already multiple times, like a month and a half now. So I'm hoping that it gets finished soon because yeah, we're excited to try it out.
It's gonna be nice. I've seen the progress videos on that one, and like it's a really nice place with a good view.
Yeah, yeah. We just installed the pool, so that's exciting. And yeah, can't wait to just test it out.
Did you end up doing the container pull on the outside?
Yep, it's in there. It's in. That was got had to be craned in, but it's in.
Nice. I know you're still debating whether or not you wanted to put that in there in the beginning, and I'm glad you took the plunge to do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good use of words, plunge. Yeah.
Awesome. Is there any other word of advice or things that you've learned along the way that you wanted to share with our audience today?
Yeah, just I guess don't be afraid to take the plunge. Learn as much as you can. Surround yourself with people, like-minded people, meaning wanting to invest, eager to invest, wanting to learn. And if this is really the space you want to be in, if you really want to be a real estate investor, and you have your goals in mind, um, don't let any stumbling blocks stop you. Don't let any hurdle stop you. Like every problem has a solution to it. Some take longer than others, but that's why you lean on those who have experience to, guide you through it, and eventually you'll get through it. So, find the answers and execute, I would say.
Nice. Nice. All right. To wrap us up, I have two questions for you. One's a mindset question. The other one
Hmm.
is an action question.
Hmm.
So the first one, what's one mindset advice that you would give to someone that is just starting something new?
Be hungry for knowledge, when they say knowledge is power, it really is. I mean, that's what I just don't know anyone who's developing in this way. Like I've only known way more advanced developers. I don't really know that many like beginner developers such as ourselves. And so those advanced developers became that somehow, and you have to start something. So yeah, be hungry for knowledge, because now it's a niche that now not a lot of people know. And whatever that niche would be, I guess a few years ago, it was short-term rental. Like in my circle, there was nobody who did short-term rental or Airbnb. And when I first started, we were alone. We kind of did it by ourselves. And then now my whole circle is all Airbnb. So that's like our whole community. So surround yourself with those that are smarter than you, and be hungry for knowledge, especially when you're starting, because you don't know where it can lead you. And then, once you have acquired enough of that knowledge, don't be afraid to execute. Don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good advice. That's a good advice that you gave me a little while back too. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're doing well now. So there you go. And then you just got to
It's
keep going,
yeah, it's been pretty
depending on
good.
your goals, really.
Yeah. I think this year I'm more focused on what we're doing here is like really simplifying direct bookings for folks. It's like part of this is the podcast, the product that I'm working on. Like that is a huge focus of mine. Probably not going to be acquiring this year. I don't know how my bankability is now that I left my W-2.
Hmm.
But I'm definitely very passionate about like what you said is like gaining knowledge, but also sharing knowledge as well too. It's
Hmm.
like I found that through the community, like the more that you can share, the more that you're able to add value back to the community, and that people want to reciprocate that back to you.
Hmm.
And like it's we just have such an amazing community where everybody wants to share, everybody wants to help each other out, and it feels good to be part of a community like that. And I definitely want to contribute back to basically everybody that helped me along the way.
Right. That sounds good.
So the second question: what's one action that you would encourage people to take? It doesn't have to be STR, it doesn't have to be direct booking related, but what's one thing you encourage people to do? What's one action?
Um, I don't know, just maybe join a Facebook group, join like a local meetup. Um, Sometimes a local meetup could be really good too, because it's physical. Like there is an action involved. Like a Facebook group is a little bit more passive on your phone, but I like things that are physical. So if you're actually going out there, then, you know, you feel like, at least for me, like there's a natural competitive, you know, inner feeling that I have that, oh, that guy's got this. And it's not to compare, but it's kind of like, wow, I appreciate that. I want to go over there and learn from that guy, from that girl, and see what I could absorb and put into my business.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I think that's what it is. It's just put yourself out there. Go to like a local meetup, go to a conference, be around the people that talk about it. Even if you have nothing to say, ask great questions, and that will really open up your mind to a lot of different possibilities.
Yeah, I agree. I met some of the best people all in person. Like
Hmm.
Facebook, a lot of times it feels like there's a lot of good information, but it's really hard to connect to any one single person.
Hmm.
But seeing someone in person and having even a 5-10 minute conversation, it just you start to build a connection and like a long lasting relationship with that person. Like
Mhm.
I don't think that I spoken to you all that much before we had a chance to meet in person, and then when we did, it
Yeah,
started to it changed our relationship. It changed the dynamic of our relationship.
I think so. Yeah, in person definitely changes everything. So I think that is would be a great action plan for someone.
Awesome. All right. To kind of wrap us up, how can folks learn more about you, connect with you? How can they follow you?
Oh yeah, just follow us on IG on at Lightfoot Cabin, and you could follow my personal as well at Jan Chase Charifa. I'll send it over for to you for description and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that. So yeah, so Lightfoot Cabin is our main cabin. That might eventually be converted to an overarching one. I'm not sure. Um, and then my personal one is where we kind of document my the current build. So
Nice. Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, Chase. I was a pleasure having you on. I'm definitely
thank
gonna
you.
probably have you on again as you ramp up your A-frame A-frames around America campaign.
Yeah, A-frames around America campaign. Yeah, that's cool. I don't mind being known as the A-frame guy. I'll just build them all.
Yeah. There's no shortages of A-frames out there.
I don't think so.
No.
I'm just gonna keep building them until they say no more A-frames.
I don't think you'll get there. I don't
I
think
don't
you'll
think I
get
don't think I'll get there. Yeah, and that's fine, and that means there's more room to grow.
Awesome. Thanks, Chase.
Cool. Thank you.
Bye.